Hey, all right. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we are going to talk about some word that is out there that Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer is nervous about the Terence Crawford fight because they believe that they have to do something extra special in order to beat Terence Crawford. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and we are back talking boxing. In this particular video, we are going to talk about some word that is going around, and I'm hearing in different boxing avenues about something that Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer Derrick James said that led Terence Crawford supporters to believe that they don't think that they are really ready to fight Terence Crawford. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos, which we do on a daily basis, both in the video format and in the live stream format. And specifically, check us out in the live stream format that we do every day, because it's in those videos that we really do get to talk. No matter what the title of the video is, we do about a 2.5 hour back and forth with boxing fans. So we pretty much hit every subject that's going on in boxing in the live streams. So make sure you check that out. But you got to hit that subscribe and hit the bell icon for you to know when it comes up. Also, if you're a longtime subscriber, supporter to the channel, obviously, thank you guys so much for your support. It really is what helps the channel grow and keep going. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so let's get into this, man. I'm going to do a couple videos today because I'm in a bit of a debunking mood. Now, why am I in a debunking mood? Because the conversation about Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford will not stop, no matter whether we're talking about whether the fight is going to actually get made or whether, who's going to win the fight, right? The conversations are going on back and forth, right? From between those type of subjects, and just really telling you at the end of it that this is a fight that a whole lot of people want to see. And I certainly hope that the fight gets made. Now, in this particular video, we're not going to talk about whether or not the fight is going to get made or not. That honestly, for me, is up in the air, especially after Terence Crawford, the way that Terence Crawford talked about the fight in a recent interview, just really, to me, does not sound like he's all the way full on board. Money problems, maybe not his financial problems, but deals with whether or not they're going to really be able to, pay him what he wants, I think comes into play. I'm not going to get into, saying that he's scared of Errol Spence Jr. or anything like that, because, man, it's boxing. You pay that guy enough money, he's going to get in that ring and fight, right? It's just how it goes. Or anybody, Ugas fought Spence, so why would Crawford be afraid to fight him? I don't believe that either way. However, real financial issues or holdups, political issues holding that fight up, I definitely do think, there's a very significant chance that's there. However, in this particular video, we're going to talk about the subject of whether or not Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, who wins the fight, right? Now, Derrick James was on a podcast earlier this week. There's been a lot of different videos coming off of what he said. And it seems as if, people who I would consider to be detractors of Errol Spence Jr. have kind of run with this idea that Derrick James believes that Errol Spence Jr. has to do something extra special in order to beat Terence Crawford in this particular fight because of something Derrick James said. Now, if you're not familiar who Derrick James is the trainer of Errol Spence Jr., who holds 3 belts in the welterweight division, the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF, where Terence Crawford holds the WBO. And Derrick James also trains Jermell Charlo, who owns all the major belts at 154 pounds. So between those two weight classes, Derrick James holds 7 of the 8 major championship belts in 2 weight classes. So look, if this dude is not an excellent trainer, I mean, I don't know what to say, because I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and definitely he has the pudding. You know what I'm saying? So what he says was, they was asked if he had if they had started training, or what they're gonna do with, as far as training for Terence Crawford. And what Derrick James said was that they are going to they got to take their training to a different level. They got to really, really step it up, right? And in their training. Now, the way that I took what he said was that, he previous to that had spoken about why it's important for him to stay in shape, why he was running and working out, because he has to be able to, when he goes to training camp, when they take training camp to another level, he has to be able to hang with Errol Spence Jr., right? Specifically, he said, look, Errol was a very, very, very hard worker. So what he'll do is he'll say, we'll go, like they said, they don't use clocks, right? So they don't do rounds, they do time. So they may go 25 minutes, right, of throwing jabs or whatever they're working on, in the ring. And then he could say, and Errol at the end of it could say, all right, let's go 10 more minutes. So then they would go 10 more minutes of him throwing a jab or doing whatever he's working on. Then Derrick James is saying that he has to be in physical shape in order to do that. He said, it was easier when I was 36 years old, but now I'm 50 years old. At 50 years old, hanging with Errol is a lot harder. So I got to make sure that I'm physically in shape, because I can't use the excuse that I am not, that, oh, I'm tired, let me get the round off, right? Which is funny, because I experience that myself when my son is a basketball player. So he may be shooting 100 jump shots, and I got to get the rebounds and pass for 100 jump shots. Over time, man, that gets a little bit tiring. And, he's a young dude that's really, really in shape. I'm not in the greatest shape in the world. So sometimes I feel like, oh, okay, I got to take a little break from running, chasing these balls down, right? But that's not an option for Derrick James as a world-class trainer to be like, okay, hold on. Yes, let me sit down for a little while and come back. So when he said that, he's like, he needed to be in the condition to take, training to a different level. As far as preparing for Terence Crawford specifically, he said that he doesn't have a game plan for Terence Crawford specifically, because he's not really watched Terence Crawford fight. He doesn't watch a lot of boxing other than, when he gets the call that the fight is on, then he'll sit down, watch film, prepare a game plan, and then, go into training camp like that. And that's when he'll actually pay significant attention to what Terence Crawford does. But before that, he's not really going to do it. So, all in all, the idea that Derrick James was communicating that he needed to do extra for Terence Crawford, because that's not what I got out of the interview and what he said. Now, at the same time, reasonable people can differ as far as the interpretation of what people say. That's why I don't really get too hot when people say, you say, okay, this is what a guy said, and then somebody may see it differently than I do. Some of that is in the interpretation of what you hear. And like I said, reasonable people can hear the same thing and draw different conclusions off of it. Communication isn't always that cut and dry. Sometimes people say things and it may, be a little bit out of context, and you have to really hear the whole thing that's being said. But anyway, it is what it is. That's my take on it. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.